It is time for Artfight! Now, what is Artfight? Artfight is an artist trading game where you submit a character for people to draw, and then you draw other people's characters that they've submitted, and you get points to be able to support your team. This year's team is Seafoam versus Stardust. And you know, of course, I had to choose Stardust. If this is your first time hearing about Artfight, don't worry, I'm gonna go and explain all of the little ins and outs of it, so that way you can too participate or just be a spectator and see the different art and things that people have created. Now, I know it's already a few days into Artfight because it starts on July 1st. I have already done a couple of attacks here and drawn people's characters and had a lot of fun with it. But I have not submitted a new character this year, and I like to try and submit a new character each year so that way there's something new. It kind of refreshes the page. It gets me excited to continue to draw other people's characters. Usually I like to draw different scenes with my characters and other people's characters in it together, just to kind of push my skills. I love using this as a way of challenging myself, and this is the 4th year that I am participating in Artfight since I heard about it, and I am happy to be able to do this and share my experiences with this. Go ahead and grab your cup of tea, and we're going ahead and get started. But before that, if you've already heard of Artfight and you're already participating and would love for me to draw your character and for you to draw my character, I do have a hit list available that you can sign up on, and I will draw your character, but you must be a part of Artfight for me to draw your character because I want those sweet, sweet, sweet points. Okay, let's get going. First, get onto the Artfight website. You'll be greeted by the front page showing the countdown for the event. To get to this website, you just type in artfight.net and it'll bring you here. Now, it does have a pretty good guide on how this works and how to get started that you can go through and read and understand the rules a little bit better. I recommend you do that to help you get a good base on what you're going to be doing for Artfight and sharing and joining in on the attacks and everything. It's worth taking a time to read through so you can understand how to rate your fight and how to get a good idea of like what you're doing and how you've done it. You will need to make an account to be able to view other people's profiles. So taking a quick tour of my page, we have my username and everything already set up, as well as some information that I do need to do a little bit of cleanup. As you can see, for the past few years, I have made about 33 attacks, which is a good amount of people and drawings that I've shared over the years and had a lot of fun exploring drawing different people's characters. And I have had about 10 defenses, which is other people drawing my characters. Specifically, they've either drawn Cookie, who is my witch, or Vox, who is my space vampire. I have 4 characters that people can choose to draw from, which is either Cookie, Este, Vox, or Kiri. I have already done my first attack of the year on one of my favorite people, and they have left me a wonderful comment, which is always good to comment on people's things when they have drawn something for you. And I love, love, love how this one turned out. Let's do a rundown of how to submit an attack for Artfight. I'm showing you how to submit an attack over showing you how to submit a character because the character part is fairly straightforward, while I understand the attack can be a little bit confusing for people. To submit an attack, please make sure that you follow the guidelines as presented in the attack area on the guide. But for the most part, you will need to put a title for your piece, add in a little description. I like to add either a little bit of a critique or just something that I am really excited about for drawing their character. And then I upload my main image. Make sure that your image is no larger than 5 megabytes. Since I do it on my phone and I am on a Samsung, you can reduce the size in edit if the picture turns out to be a little bit too big. And then if you want, you can include a thumbnail. Make sure that if there is any kind of violence or something that is not PG-13, you want to put a filter on. There is no illegal substance or sexual content in these works. Also, one of the things that you need to know for submitting art fights, it's usually you are only going to get points for your original characters. You cannot submit characters that are already copyrighted. Some people have different Sonas, and Sona characters are fine set in a similar universe, such as a Spidey Sona or a Pony Sona. No direct works from the original series are permitted. Once you have uploaded your image and checked the content filter, you will need to make sure you put in the person's username and their character ID. To find the character ID, you want to go to the character page of who you are attacking. So, for example, if you were going to attack one of my characters, you will click on their name and you will see this ID number pop up next to it. You want to copy that and paste it into the attack area, and it'll pull up that character. Once you've done that, you'll need to choose how much of the character you've drawn. I usually tend to draw my attacks as a half or full body, so I would check half, and then you will need to go into the depths of how much detail you put into your drawing. You are doing it in any other styles, such as crafts, which I know some people sew plushies of other people's characters, or knit people's characters, knit, crochet. I've seen puppets being made out of other people's characters, and beadwork. So that would fall under craft. And then there is the 3D modeling. And people do 3D modeling of different people's characters, and it's been amazing to see. Since I am a 2D artist, I usually just keep it at drawing. Then you will choose whether it is a rough sketch or a clean, inlined, or lineless sketch. You rate it by how much color detail that you've put into it, and whether you've done no shading, minimal shading, full shading. And then finally, if you have done no background, a simple abstract background, a background with a scene layout, or a full scene. Once you've done that, you'll want to check whether it is polished or not. Usually how I like to judge if I think something is polished is if I am working in a medium that I don't usually use as often, and I put just a little bit of extra effort into it. Since I don't work digitally as often, and I don't do a lot of color work digitally as often, I like to check this as being polished, especially if I'm doing it with a background. And if you happened to do an animated piece, there are even more things to choose from before you submit your attack. Once you've checked everything off, it will prompt you with a confirming the details. Since I don't have enough information in here, I am not able to put all the details in. Once you have all the details, you will be able to see how many points you've racked up for your attack, and then you will be able to submit your attack. Once you've submitted your attack, the amount of points that you've gained is final. For this attack, since I went a little bit above and beyond for this person, this is the third time that I have drawn their character, I ended up accumulating 154 points because I did 2 of their characters at full body, with it being a drawing as clean lines, clean color and painted, and fully shaded within a scene, making it look like a wonderful cover page. Now you might be wondering, Josephine, how do I find somebody to attack for Artfight this year? Well, I got you covered. Now there are several ways that you can find different people to draw their characters to gain points for Artfight or submit your character to be drawn. One way is on the Artfight website itself, where you see that there are people who have shared their recent attacks and recent characters. And you can choose from the recent characters and find a bunch of different people who have shared their character and would love for you to draw their character. You can either do friendly fire, where you're attacking people on your own team, but you get less points, or you can attack other people from the opposing team, where you will get the most points. The other way to find characters to draw is to join the Artfight Discord. There is lots of lovely people who share their character here, and you can scroll through and choose characters to attack. This is a great community of people to talk with and chat with and see all of the different unique things people have come up with. And of course, if you want me to attack you for Artfight and draw your character, you can always fill out my hit list, found in the doobly-doo below. Now that I've given you a little bit of a tour of how Artfight works, how about we get to drawing the character that I will be sharing with Artfight this year. Specifically, I'm going to be redesigning the character that is on my logo. Her name is Kiri. It is one of the usernames that I've used off and on for years and years and years. I haven't updated my YouTube page, my logo, in probably almost 10 years. And it's due time for a new update. So here is some of the things that I have been thinking about putting together for this character. So I've compiled a bunch of different pieces of artwork together on a Pinterest board to see what I'm really inspired by for my redesign. I really like this style of putting a character with these fun typography, and I want to include some of the more magical elements that come with Witch Hat Atelier. I really especially love the ribbon and the scrolls that go around all of this. I don't just use a Pinterest board. This is just where I gather up everything that inspires me so I can see it put together, and then I narrow the items down even further into a program called PureRef. The program happened to crash on me because I accidentally unplugged my laptop, and I lost this initial image. Thankfully, I saved it before everything crashed. But I like PureRef because you can take anything from Pinterest, you can simply drag the image and drop it into the program, and then scale, move it around, or make different notes on what you are looking for. And it's a great way of compiling the different ideas and things that you see and be able to pull them together in a way that does make an idea a bit more cohesive. So as you can see, I have several different bookish ideas, from this JoJo character carrying a full-on sketchbook to someone holding a pen and paper. And of course, we have some very D&D, but magical, make it magical girl style ideas, and then characters with big fluffy hair. Now it's just a matter of pulling all of these ideas and putting them together. I really liked this pose, but I wanted to make sure that I get all of their features down before I really settle into drawing them. That way I don't get anything too confused and I can have a more finalized version of what I'm doing. I love putting all of the details down first before I finally settle into things so I can see what I want to change. So my initial redesign is close to what I want, but not quite. I'm wanting something that has a little bit of a longer skirt and that looks a little bit more like me. This one turned out just a little young, and I feel like there are some things missing, but since I have a general idea of how I want the face to look, I think we're going to go ahead and move forward with the bust design. That way I have something new to put on my YouTube page at the very least with my design and logo, as well as something to submit to Artfight. So let's get to it. The initial pose that I chose for Kiri was supposed to give her a more thinking, contemplative look, but it mostly ended up looking like she was smoking, so I had to make that adjustment so that the pin looked more like a pin. Thankfully, with the power of the lasso tool, it makes it really easy to make a simple adjustment like that. The program that I'm using is called Ibis Paint. It is something that is easily accessible on my phone, so that way I can do more detailed drawings and pieces without getting too overwhelmed of being at a computer and having to sit and be in a full setup like I have to do for work. I kept my brand colors mostly the same, with only a few minor adjustments to add a bit of variation, and I am changing my font up from the more cartoony style to something that is still very playful but has a little bit more elegance to it to fit the update of the brand. One of the reasons I'm choosing to add so many more patterns is because I actually spent a long time doing things with patterns like Zentangle and just being more detailed with pieces. And I thought it was a nice update to the work that I have been doing and showing the progress that I have made in my skills and my overall understanding of the digital medium. This piece took me about 4, maybe 5 hours to do, as I had to sort through all of the patterns and textures that I potentially wanted to include in this, making it just take a little bit longer than usual for creating my pieces. I still feel like I want to go back and add more detail to it, specifically more elements that make it feel like it's a tabletop adventure place rather than just a journaling space. I will definitely be adding that into the next banner that I create, but for now, I think that this will do, as it is a major update from what I originally had for my banner and my logo. Really amazing to see how far I've come in creating my artwork and being able to do more graphic design work, as a lot of the work that I've taken on over the past few years has been graphic design or social media marketing related. Now that I have the gist of what she looks like, I might even start doing some animations with her, so that way I can continue to have a very playful and fun looking ideas and different things when I'm doing tabletop RPGs. That way I can have a consistent character to play in all of the different worlds that I visit with each tabletop adventure that I review. Thanks for joining me as I go through and share my excitement for Artfight. I am looking forward to seeing what people do for my character, and I look forward to seeing what other people do and share what I've drawn and just have a lot of fun with this. Alrighty, I'll catch you guys later. Bye!